Understanding the cellular setup settings in the SPYPOINT app. Understanding how the cellular setup menu in the SPYPOINT app works is critical to getting the best performance from your SPYPOINT cellular trail camera. Once on the Settings tab for your particular camera, you'll see Cellular Setup is the second option below the camera name. Click the plus sign to the right of Cellular Setup to expand the settings options. The first setting under Cellular Setup is the first transfer time. This is the time of day that the first communication will take place. Even if the camera has not taken photos since the last communication that it needs to transfer, it will communicate with the servers at this time. This time will be the starting point for calculating other communications within our next setting. The second setting is transfer frequency. This setting controls the number of communications or transfers the camera will make in a 24-hour period. You can choose scheduled transmissions of 1, 2, 6, or 12 times a day. That means your photos will be sent on 24, 12, 4, or 12-hour intervals. You will also notice the each detection option here. We'll come back to that in a minute. There are a few things to consider when choosing your transfer frequency. You want to balance the expected photo load with the transfer frequency. If your camera isn't communicating frequently enough and accumulating huge batches of photos, you may run into issues with the communication timing out, while connecting too frequently can strain the battery without transmitting any photos. The other consideration is signal strength. Areas with a less reliable signal may warrant a more frequent transfer frequency. If this seems confusing, let me explain. If the signal is poor enough that the camera isn't able to communicate, being on a more frequent schedule means it'll pick up its next time sooner to try again. If you're only communicating once a day, and during that time it isn't able to connect, it's not going to try for another 24 hours. Bear in mind, weak signal and increased transfer frequency are both strains on battery life, so you may not experience the same battery performance in such a location. Consider an alternate battery source, like a 12-volt kit or even a solar camera in such a location. This is also true of the each detection setting. This setting is very taxing on battery life, so a backup or alternate power source is recommended when you choose this setting. The last setting in this section is the Take a Photo at Next Transfer option. When toggled on, this setting triggers the camera to take a photo at the next scheduled communication. This is a helpful setting when you're concerned about the camera not sending anything for a period of time. While we always think there's something walking past our cameras, that isn't always the case. This allows you to make sure that the camera is functioning without visiting the camera. It's also worth noting that if you have your camera set to each detection and request a photo be sent at the next transmission, that this may not happen until the first transfer time you have set in the app if there's no motion in front of your camera during that time. No settings changes that you request to be made will take place until the next communication. So in the case of each detection, while it may be the fastest way to get your photos, it is the slowest setting for managing and adjusting settings during quiet times in front of your camera. Understanding the cellular setup and how your camera communicates with the SPYPOINT servers and app can help you make the best settings decisions. For more helpful and informative videos like this, visit spypoint.com/support.